Alright guys, we are live on YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. We have the Turkish Grand Prix today. 58 laps around Istanbul Park. And yeah, looking forward to it. It is not raining. The track is damp. So they may start on intermediate tyres, but it'll only be a few laps time before the dry line actually starts to form. So yeah, it's not raining. It's just damp conditions on track. And we have another half an hour before the race begins, and then we'll be talking about all of the strategy and all of the stuff that we usually do. So welcome everyone, and yeah, hello Len, C Paul, Siddharth, Wolf One, Espen. All right, so let's get into it. Daniel Ricciardo has got a penalty because he started P16. Well, he was going to start P16, and then McLaren were like, well, if we're going to already start that far to the back, we might as well just take an engine penalty and go all the way to the back. So that's what they've done. They've got a brand new engine, brand new internal combustion engine, MGU-H, and I think control electronics as well. So he's starting from the back in 20th place. Then we have Carlos Sainz, who's starting 19th, and then no one else has a penalty other than Hamilton, who will be starting 11th. Do a poll on who's going to win. Sure. All right then. Let me just set up that poll. So who will win? Oops. Hamilton or Verstappen or Bottas? Verstappen, Bottas, and then other. Alright, so I'll do the poll. You can vote in that poll. Thanks for the congratulations on 10k. Yeah, hit it right at the end of the stream yesterday. So, yeah, it was very, very cool. And now we're at 10k, but the track is damp, so it will be slippy. We'll find out what tyres everyone's choosing in a few minutes, in 10-15 minutes or so. And yeah, because they've all got their tyre blankets on now, so we don't know. But it might be a risky strategy. Well, it might be a pretty smart strategy, in fact, to start on the slicks. Okay, maybe the first few laps you're going to be slower, but then after that, when the dry line starts emerging, you won't have to pit and lose 20 seconds. So you lose 20 seconds in the pit lane pitting under normal conditions, and then you lose 12 seconds, I think, in the pit lane when there's a safety car or a virtual safety car. So it's probably better off to start on the slicks, but who knows? Maybe if there's more rain forecast, then we will see. In fact, I'm just going to check my trusty weather website that shows all of the important weather information, and then I'll let you know what it looks like, and maybe I'll put it up on stream as well. Okay, I think podiums are up for grabs since it's raining. Well, yeah, if it does eventually rain, then it will be very interesting to see who can get a podium, because Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, and Fernando Alonso starting 3rd, 4th, 5th, have very good odds of getting a podium. All three drivers are very competent, very quick, and especially this week they've been outperforming their teammates by a significant margin, all three of them. So if anyone is on for a surprise podium, I think it's going to be top 3. Is there an Avli show after this race? I don't think there'll be an Avli show this weekend. There'll probably be next weekend, and next weekend there's an Android app getting released for it as well. So, yeah, all of you guys who are on Android as well could probably join the Avli event next week when the Android app does get released. Changeable conditions. Well, changeable conditions, we all know that Hamilton and Verstappen both excel in those. And we'll find out Bottas improved a lot from last year's performance in Istanbul, so I think he's very, very much prepared for any sort of conditions. And yeah, we'll find out what he does. And by the looks of it, there is not that much rain that I can see according to my weather app, which is pretty accurate most of the time. Not much rain in Istanbul, but we'll see what happens, because F1's pretty unpredictable and so is the weather. Slicks are kicking up light amount of spray though, so the track is definitely damp, yeah. But it's just the question of who's going to go on slicks, who's not. And yeah, we'll find out very, very soon. Your overlay is broken. It says it's quali. Oh, oops. Yeah, I need to change that. Didn't realize. Thanks for reminding me. Time to the race start. Here we go. Right, I'll just change that. But Christian Horner's currently just doing an interview now, and he's just talking about, well, it's whoever gets the correct strategy call really is going to. Well, Christian Horner hasn't said that, but I think whoever's going to get the correct strategy call is going to have a very big advantage in this race today. Yeah, we'll get some. We'll get what they have said on the. In their interviews up in a second. The possible race strategies for today are mediums onto hards, or medium hards mediums, or soft medium hards. So usually how it works is you lose around 24 seconds, 25 seconds in a pit stop, but at this circuit you only lose 20 seconds. So there is a chance of us getting 2-stop races. We will find out, of course, because depending on track conditions and how much tyre wear everyone gets, we will get different race strategies. So I don't think everyone is going to go on the medium to hards. And yeah, I think we do hope for a close race up front. And Bottas definitely can't do any worse than he did last year, because he spun 5-6 times. And yeah. Alright, Christian Horner said, the best way to beat them is to finish ahead of them. We focus on our race and hopefully we can be close to them in race trim than in qualifying. They were quick today. Lewis has looked the quickest that he has all year, to be coming up through pretty quick. So they're expecting Lewis Hamilton to be coming through the field very, very quickly, but having, the likes of Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso in 5th, 6th and 7th, it's going to be very, very difficult indeed for Lewis Hamilton to make it through. Right, let's just ban these guys who are spamming. Okay. Daniel Ricciardo took an engine penalty after an awful Q1. Yeah, that's right, Mark. He has taken a new power unit. He's replaced 4 components of the power unit, and he's starting from the back of the grid. We have team radio from Max Verstappen. Let's see what he has to say.
How are conditions?
Yeah, perfect for intermediates.
Okay, understood.
I think Max just said perfect for intermediates. Let me just play that again.
How are conditions?
Yeah, perfect for intermediates.
Okay, understood.
So Max Verstappen has just said perfect for intermediate conditions. And, well, if they're going to be starting in Inters, that's going to be very, very interesting, because there is no more rain that is falling right now. So the only thing they will have to cool down the tyres is standing water. And we cannot see what tyres everyone's on because they've all put tyre blankets on their car. And yeah, well, that's the issue. Charles Leclerc has just said anything can happen in these conditions, so I'll try and maximise today. Up until now, it's been a very smooth weekend and everything went our way, but nothing is done until you cross the finish line in the race. We have team radio from Pierre Gasly. Let's play this. Here we go.
It's a bit more wet than in pit 3.
So he's saying it's a bit more wet. Once again, thinking maybe potentially these guys are going to start on Inters. Lewis Hamilton said, all I know is it is cold, so cold. We've had a good car here. Today's going to be tough. It's damp, it's drizzling, it's different from last year, so it's going to be a different kind of race. Also, guys, last year it was similar conditions to this. There was more rain on track. Now there's less rain. But still greasy conditions, and there is chance of rain. and we'll find out what happens and what tyres everyone's on. There could be carnage first lap, especially in turn 1, because it's been, well, they raced here last year, but then other than that's the only reference point they have for braking into turn 1. And one person makes a little mistake in braking, they hit another person, and it becomes a massive collision. Well, a lot of crashing as well. So one small mistake from one driver can have a very big knock-on effect to everyone else, and it will just be, well, it's just whoever can master the conditions. All right then. So Pierre Gasly has said Pierre Gasly was very good in the wet yesterday. He topped FP3, which was wet conditions. Pierre Gasly is also starting in 4th place. And by the looks of it, everyone will be starting on intermediate tyres today. So starting on the inters, Pierre Gasly might be a contender to challenge Charles Leclerc for the last podium spot and maybe even hold off Lewis Hamilton. We'll find out. So the expected race strategy, if it was dry conditions, would be mediums onto lap 15 or so, and then hards again, which would be the quickest way. So a 2-stopper is the quickest, and then nearly as quick would be mediums and then hards, just one pit stop, and then the alternative strategies were medium, hard, medium, or soft, hard, medium. And well, by the looks of it, the ideal strategy is a 2-stopper, and we'll probably have 2 stops this race as well, because once the conditions dry out a bit, we'll be going on to slick tyres as well. So 2 stops is my prediction. When's it going to start? In 17 minutes, I think it says at the top of your screen. Yeah, will Ferrari do something unexpected today? Well, Charles Leclerc said he'll try and maximise everything. He is starting P3 in a podium place, so we'll see if he can hold that podium place, or will the charging Pierre Gasly take that away from him? So compared to last year, the track is completely different. It's all just, well, they fixed the track basically. Last year there was oil seeping out onto the track, and that made a lot of, that had very low grip characteristics, and this year they've water blasted the track, and now we've got high grip again. And yeah, hi Kiez. Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's totally fine if you're not, as long as you guys are listening and stuff. I'm totally cool with that. I mean, you're watching, which is very, very nice indeed. According to the official F1 info, it says it's drizzling and the track is wet ahead of lights out. I haven't seen any puddles on the grid whatsoever, but I have seen a wet track, so we will find out what happens. Just to confirm, everyone who has a penalty, so Hamilton has a 10-place grid penalty. He was first yesterday, but now he's down into 11th. Carlos Sainz is 19th. He has a grid penalty as well, and so does Daniel Ricciardo. He is 20th. Mario Isola, the head of Pirelli, so the people who make all the tyres, the crossover point between the wets and the intermediates, as well as the intermediates and the slicks, are lower than other tracks. This will have an influence on the strategies and the changeable conditions. And, well, that's what it is. The changeable conditions is going to make today's race very, very exciting indeed. Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Yeah, very much just help out the stream. Every single like makes us get more viewers, and the more viewers we get, the more likes, and it's just a endless snowball effect, which is very cool. But now just looking forward to the race start. 15 minutes remaining now, and by the looks of it, is intermediate starting tyres. We'll find out once the data is released. And track conditions, air temp and track temp, very, very low. 15-degree air temp. I need to change that again. Oops. Okay, so it's 15-degree air temp and 18-degree track temp. So all of the drivers are going to be struggling a lot for grip, because, well, it's going to be very difficult to heat up the tyres in just one lap. Yesterday we saw drivers doing double warm-up laps to have enough tyre temperature to do a qualifying lap, and that is not good. They obviously can't do that with a formation lap because you only have one formation lap. we'll see what the drivers do eventually do with the strategy and who gets a race start. It's very much a matter of whoever can get the most tire temperature on the formation lap will have a very good race start, and will most likely make up a lot of positions at the start of the race. Okay, there are actually quite a few drivers to watch out for today. So we're going to see Hamilton is the quickest driver, of course, due to qualifying yesterday. Qualified in first place, but now down 11th. So he's going to be making lots of overtakes. So we'll be watching out for him flying through the field. And then we have Bottas versus Verstappen at the front. We'll see who does. If Bottas does actually hold up Verstappen like Mercedes will want him to do, or will Verstappen just take the lead into turn one and just absolutely check out? We'll see if there's a battle there or if there's not, and we'll find out. And because Max Verstappen is also starting on the dirty side of the grid, so he'll be starting on the left side of the grid, which has got less grip than the right side of the grid. So Bottas has an inherent lead into turn one by the fact that he has more grip off the line. But we'll find out what happens because no one can predict a thing about what happens in turn one. Leclerc is going to be battling Gasly very, very hard. The two Frenchmen, well, the Monegasque and the Frenchman, basically the same thing, but will definitely be battling for the final podium position as long as Alonso and Perez and Norris can hold off Lewis Hamilton. And then we have Ricciardo and Sainz both out of position, starting in 19th and 20th respectively. Oh no, Sainz is 19th and Ricciardo's 20th. So both of them are going to be making overtaking moves throughout the whole race to try and catch up to their teammates. Leclerc's up in third, 16 positions between the two Ferrari drivers. And yeah. And then Mick Schumacher is starting in 14th, so he has a very good chance of maybe scoring some points as well. We will find out if he can actually do that. And yeah, looking forward to it if he can actually score points in that Haas, because he's been driving exceptionally well, just being plagued by the slowness of the Haas car. Thank you for the donation, C. Paul. Congrats on 10k. Do appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't say much at the end of yesterday's stream, but thank you for all of the support, guys. Yeah, everyone's just very, very lovely in the chat. And yeah, because of you guys, I do this every single week, and I absolutely love it, and so do you. So thank you so, so much. And it's just you guys hitting the like button on every single stream, which helps out, and subscribing. But we will get back to the commentary, because that's what you guys are here for. 11 minutes till the race starts, so they'll be getting on the formation lap very, very soon. And yeah, just cannot wait for this race to get underway. We'll watch, especially Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo has been, well, we all know Daniel Ricciardo, the last of late breakers, doing some very risky moves. We'll see if he can continue doing that in this McLaren car, if he has finally got some confidence in it after, I think it's been 16 races or so that he's been struggling in that McLaren car. Obviously won in Monza, but nevertheless, we'll see if he can pull off some interesting late dive bombs, because that's always enjoyable to watch. Okay then, we are now 10 minutes till the race start, and looking further down the field, Russell potentially has another chance to score points. Both Aston Martins not looking particularly strong, and yeah, oh, the sub goal, yeah, it's currently below. I haven't updated it well. I don't think I'll do that now, because it will probably just crash my OBS, because my laptop really isn't coping well today. But nevertheless, we have a quote from Valtteri Bottas, who says, "For sure, it's a good chance for a win today. It seems it seems like every single race it's raining now, which will mix things up. I need to focus on my race. Lewis is a bit behind." Yeah. Apparently the weather isn't going anywhere, so it is cloudy over the entirety of the track. I will get an image up for you guys, because, well, you want to see the track conditions, of course. What happened to Daniel Ricciardo? Just got new engines, because he was going to start in 16th place because he had a bad qualifying yesterday. So McLaren decided, oh well, we might as well just take an engine penalty. So they did. Okay. Do we have any more team radios? No, we don't. All right. So I will show you the image of the weather once it decides to load. Here we go. Here we are. Right. If that comes up, oh, you can't exactly see it. If we go, oops, wrong one. There. So that's what the weather looks like. Basically, it's all cloudy for the entirety of the circuit. So we'll see if the teams could do anything. Here we go. As you can see, water, and they are on intermediate tires driving to the grid. They might change tires, they might not. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty damp conditions, and they will probably start on intermediates. We'll find out what they do. And yeah. And the wind isn't looking too strong either. Pretty light wind, so it won't affect anything. We probably won't get any spins because of the wind today. And yeah. All right. So here we go then. George Russell has just said it's going to be intermediate tyres for the majority of the race. So if George Russell says it, I would believe if George Russell says it. So yeah, here we go then. How long now? 7 minutes. Very much on the formation lap. If you guys haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It does help out the channel, and be sure to subscribe as well. I guess onwards and upwards to 20k. We can always aim for bigger numbers, I guess. All right, did you just? Yeah, music. Well, music download has just made the joke. Mercedes is on Inters, which is interesting. Haha, hilarious. All right. So, there's an interesting stat from David Croft that has said the last two races won from 11th place on the grid were 3,395 days apart, and today is 3,395 days since the last one. So the driver who's starting in 11th place, Lewis Hamilton, is, according to the stats, going to win. We'll find out though what actually happens, and very much just looking forward to the race to start. Weather is drippy, just like the Red Bull's new livery. Yeah, the Red Bull's livery looks very, very good indeed. I wish they would keep it for a few more races, but well, maybe till the end of the season. But we'll find out what happens. We have Lewis Hamilton on the radio now. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Marcus, the question is whether you go on the inside or the outside for turn one.
So Lewis is asking his engineer, should I go on the inside or the outside for turn one? And now, when you're on the inside of the track, you are less likely to get hit by other drivers, of course, because there's no one. If someone crashes into the guy next to you, well, there is no person to the left of you who will get hit. So there's less chance of you getting taken out if you are on the inside. But there's also a chance there'll be a massive puddle there, like there was yesterday, on the inside of turn one, and especially the curb as well. So if you go on the inside of turn one, there's a chance that you'll spin and get caught out by the puddle. And if you're on the outside of the track, then there's a pretty high chance that you could get hit by someone else going bowling. So, well, it's Lewis Hamilton's decision. It'll probably be decided for him where he goes, depending on the race starts and stuff. But yeah. All right then. Hello, Ivan. Yeah. Yeah, the Red Bull looks very cool, and the camo livery that Red Bull had also looked very, very cool. But unfortunately, they're just stuck with their usual black, blue Red Bull colour. So Yeah. Will Max start on Inters? Pretty sure Max will start on Inters. Apparently, the most of the race will be on intermediate tires, according to George Russell. And yeah, we'll find out what happens. Make sure the map works. The map will work. I'm like 99% sure. We have team radio from Carlos Sainz. Let's listen to this. All right, then here we go.
Yeah, it looks like it should be like this the whole race. So we just need to focus in understanding whether it's better to keep boxing for inters or stay out for the slick intermediate. Is the main point of understanding.
Ooh, all right. So interesting point from Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz has said, will it be better if we stay out on intermediates or if we drive on used intermediates, which have basically turned into slicks? So I don't know if you remember from last year, but Sergio Perez's intermediate tires, he had worn them out so much that they had basically turned into slicks. There were no grooves left in the tires. So Carlos Sainz has just come over the radio and said, we need to work out if it's quicker to drive on slicks, which are intermediates, which have just turned into slicks, or pitting for new inters every single time. And that would be very important as well, because last year it was quicker to go on the inter slicks than to be on the slicks themselves. And yeah, it's always just something to watch out for. And I will let you know, of course, because you have all of the images of the race. Everyone that's subscribed and liked, very much do appreciate the support. And yeah, welcome along to the 16th round of the 2021 Formula One Championship. We are at Istanbul Park Circuit, and it is raining. Well, it's wet conditions, and drivers will effectively be on intermediate tyres. We have a 3.3 mile, 5.3 kilometre circuit with top speeds around 200 miles an hour, 2 DRS zones, and 14 turns, 40 metres of elevation throughout the entire lap. Turn 1 will be a lot of action, especially on lap 1. So will turn number 7. There were lots of overtakes there last year. It's sort of a hairpin. Turn 8, we'll see if the drivers do go flat in these wet conditions. And then we have the remainder of the final part of the lap, the final third sector, 3 slow twisty corners, and where a lot of time can be lost and gained. And yeah. All right then. So this is it. Drivers now will be on the formation lap, and we could probably get some info on which tyres they're on and stuff. Everyone is on intermediate tyres, guys. There you go. We have the softs, mediums, hards available, and the intermediates and the wets as well. Everyone is starting on fresh sets of intermediate tyres, and this is it then. The race is starting very, very soon. Well, they're going on the formation lap very, very soon. On the starting grid, we have Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas starting first and second. Hamilton, and all of the even numbers of your starting position have the dirty side of the grid. Third and fourth, we have Leclerc and Gasly. They'll be battling it out for the final podium position. Fifth and sixth, we have Alonso and Perez, both very experienced drivers. We'll see what they can do. Then Norris and Stroll. Norris not having the usual high performance that he does in that McLaren this weekend round. Then we have Tsunoda and Vettel 9th and 10th. Then Hamilton and Ocon. Hamilton will be looking to make his way through the field as quickly as possible. For 13th and 14th, George Russell, Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher, highest ever qualifying of his career this weekend, and we'll see if he can convert that into points. Next up, Nicola Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi in 16th and 17th. And then Raikkonen and Mazepin lining up alongside each other, and then Sainz and Ricciardo with engine penalties to round out the grid. So that has been that. The map will work, guys. It's just they're on the formation lap, so it doesn't work on the formation lap, and it will work when the race does eventually get underway. And I'll find out the speeds. Yep, everyone is warming up their tires and stuff now, and yeah, the race is about to get underway. Right, let's get on the right. Okay, here we are. Yep, everyone's just warming up their tires now, getting up, shifting through all the gears, making sure everything works. The gap between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton is 2 points in the championship. 2 points separates the two championship contenders. And yeah, all right, here we go. Then we have team radio from Fernando Alonso. Let's play this.
Seems like the weather will be like this for quite a while.
All right, then. It seems like the weather will be like this for quite a while. Well, this is what we were looking for. Changeable conditions for the entirety of the Turkish Grand Prix. And if you guys remember the last time we had changeable conditions for the entirety of the race, it was the 2019 German Grand Prix, which was the second highest ranked race in the whole of like the past 12 years or something. The map will work. The map starts working as soon as the race starts. So, yeah, the drivers on the formation laps now. I think Bottas, Verstappen all slowing down, coming onto their grid positions. I need to change the stream title to say that the race has started. We have team radio from Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton. I'll play both of them now. Here we go.
There any more rain coming on at the moment? We think this will be like that.
We expect these conditions to stay as they are for pretty much the whole race.
All right, that's Pierre Gasly's radio, and we have Lewis Hamilton's.
We're gonna have to get music in this car. Can't listen to that terrible beat every single race.
I could sing to you if you want, but I don't think that would be appreciated.
Anything would be better than this.
You haven't heard me sing.
If you do the job today, you have to sing for us after.
Alright, so Lewis Hamilton's got some weird sound in his car, but now this is it. Everyone is lined up on the grid. Only Raikkonen, Mazepin, Sainz, and Ricciardo are left. We have lights out in 30 seconds, guys. Right, I need to get a drink before I start. So this is it now. Everyone is in their grid positions, all revving the engines up to the correct clutch position, and this is it. Lights out and away we go. Bottas gets a very good start. Everyone on the dirty side of the grid relatively slow compared to everyone else. Going into turn 1, Bottas maintains the lead over Max Verstappen. We have a yellow flag. Looks like someone's had an issue, and it is Fernando Alonso has lost a lot of places, and Mick Schumacher and Fernando Alonso is out by the looks of it. Lost 12 places at the race start. Absolutely horrific race start for him. Perez is up into 4th. Hamilton still in 10th place, hasn't gained a position other than Fernando Alonso dropping out. So F in the chat for Fernando Alonso is down in 18th place, and he was starting up in 5th. So absolutely horrific start for him. Still out at the front, Bottas has extended his lead over Max Verstappen. And then we have Gasly, who's lost out to Sergio Perez. Norris is up into 6th position, and he will be trying his utmost best to outscore Charles Leclerc to ensure that McLaren beat Ferrari in the 3rd place championship battle. Going up into the DRS zone, we don't have DRS activated right now because of the wet conditions, but Bottas leads Verstappen by 1.3 seconds, then Leclerc, Perez, Gasly, Norris, Stroll, Tsunoda, and Vettel. Everyone's bunched up, and there's a very good chance Vettel's about to get overtaken by Lewis Hamilton. Both of them side by side going into the 3rd to last corner, triple chicane. We'll see who comes out on top. And Hamilton still not being able to make the move on Vettel. Now gets a switch back on him and gets past Seb Vettel. So Vettel down into 10th place. Lewis Hamilton already into 9th. So Hamilton has gained 2 positions overall and is on his way to chase down Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. Nicholas Latifi has also had a spin by the looks of it. He's now down into 20th position. So he's lost out 5 places. Horrible start for Nicholas Latifi. Fernando Alonso's down in 16th. Sainz and Ricciardo all gained 2 positions. And yeah, what a race start. F1 News Channel. Jeez, I need to... Right, okay, here we go. back to the race then. So looking at the top speeds, Valtteri Bottas is a lot quicker than everyone else. And we have to consider, guys, there is still a lot of spray around. So Bottas has a very big advantage over everyone else with the fact that he has no spray whatsoever. And everyone else is, covered up entirely in spray. And and everyone else has very minimal visibility. So this might be one of the reasons why Bottas is pulling away purple first and second sector from him, quicker than Verstappen in both of them. And he is just pulling away very, very quickly indeed. Max Verstappen will have to push to stop him, but he has still got another 57 laps of the race to go, and you don't want to throw it away by pushing a bit too hard now. So Mick Schumacher also had a horrible start, was up in 14th place, now he's down into 19th. I will let you know what happened to Mick in a second. Bottas sets fastest lap of the race, and the fastest third sector goes to Sergio Perez. So it looks like Perez got a very big toe, and so did Pierre Gasly. Both of those drivers very, very quick indeed in the third sector with the slipstream. No DRS just yet because of the wet conditions. And then we have Ocon trying to make the overtake on Seb Vettel, but not being close enough whatsoever, and Vettel just closing the door on him. And yeah. Alright, Leclerc has fell off the back of Verstappen as well, so everyone's starting to split off now so they can get a bit better visibility, which is very, very difficult to get any sort. Well, visibility in Formula 1 cars is difficult anyways, and with the rain that just makes it even worse. Yuki Tsunoda, though, battling against Lewis Hamilton, and he's been battling very, very well indeed, holding off Lewis Hamilton through the entirety of turn number 7, which is a very long corner, having a very good battle with him as well. And Hamilton not finding a way past Yuki Tsunoda. So the young AlphaTauri rookie is doing a very good job indeed, especially with all of the... I think Helmut Marko will be happy with the fact that he's holding up Lewis Hamilton. It gives Max Verstappen more time to catch up to Valtteri Bottas, and that is exactly what Verstappen is doing. Purple first sector, we'll see if he can carry that pace on through the second and third sectors, but it gets difficult with the dirty air and the visibility that makes it very, very difficult to overtake indeed. We have Sainz has overtaken Fernando Alonso going into the third sector, final couple of corners. It's a very good opportunity to make some overtakes and very good opportunity to defend as well. Unfortunately, Alonso, I think, has got some damage while he when Gasly touched him at the start of the race. So Fernando Alonso not going to have the best races because he has damaged his car already. He lost another position to Daniel Ricciardo as well. So Ricciardo overtaking Alonso and Sainz, but we'll see what can happen. With 55 laps remaining in changeable conditions, one little spin and a safety car can change up the entirety of this race. So we'll find out what's going to happen. Once again, Bottas and Verstappen just trading fastest sectors, and now Bottas has got the fastest first sector. So both of the drivers at the front checking out. Leclerc is already 2 seconds behind him. And yeah, so we had Fernando Alonso had a spin at the start of the race. He did a perfect 360 pirouette, but lost 16 positions. So I don't think he'll be too happy about that. All right. I think this is a bit too quiet. Okay. We're back. Oh, I'll in fact get the team radio up. I forgot all about the team radio. I'm pretty sure Fernando Alonso would have come over the team radio not being too pleased about the fact that he didn't get... All right, we have team radio from Nicholas Latifi. Let's play this. Here we go.
Contact rear left, contact rear left. Wait, we'll check. Pressure looks fine. Single press HPP. Pressure looks fine.
Okay, so the pressure... Nicholas Latifi got hit at the rear, so he had some issues. We have team radio from Mick Schumacher. He got crashed into at turn 4, so we'll find out what happens there.
Okay, Latifi's behind. I'll get the tires going again.
Yep, so I think Latifi and Mick Schumacher had a bit of a coming together, and yeah. Alright, so the start analysis, Valtteri Bottas took 3.09 seconds to get from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, and Max Verstappen took 3.2 seconds. So, quicker start for Valtteri Bottas. Obviously, he was on the cleaner side of the grid, which would have helped him out. And yeah, so I think it was Fernando Alonso that turned. Oh no, Mick Schumacher turned into Fernando Alonso and therefore crashed out. And then Nicholas Latifi just had some contact and had spun. So both of those drivers, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi, losing out massively at the start of the race. Well, the three big losers at the start of the race were Alonso, Latifi, and Schumacher. Getting back to the race now, Sainz is having a pretty tough time overtaking George Russell. George Russell obviously has the Mercedes engine, highest top speed out of anyone, and the Williams has got the lowest drag configuration as well. So Sainz is going to have to get a very good exit out of turn number 9 if he wants to overtake George Russell on the final sector into the final couple of corners, and he does exactly that. Sends one down the inside of George Russell, and George Russell sees it coming, doesn't get in the way, and just lets Carlos Sainz get past, because those two drivers is very separate races. Carlos Sainz getting back through the field, George Russell trying to maintain and maybe get up into 10th place. Next up is Daniel Ricciardo, the person trying to overtake George Russell. And Daniel Ricciardo is still unsuccessful to try and overtake Carlos Sainz, been behind him since the entirety of this race. But if he wants to help McLaren get third place in the championship, then he's going to have to try and get past Sainz, maybe through the pits, because we might have a 2-stop race, or maybe through some other means. We'll find out what there is, what other overtaking opportunities he has. But talking of top speed, both Ferraris, Charles Leclerc 305 kilometers an hour and Carlos Sainz 304 kilometers an hour, the two quickest cars on the grid. So once the Ferraris get a very good tow, they are very much set to be quick down the straight. But looking at the other top speeds, we have Max Verstappen at 273 kilometers an hour and Valtteri Bottas at 299. That's a 23 kilometer hour difference between the two drivers. That's almost as much as what DRS gives you. So Max Verstappen's going to have a very tough time overtaking Valtteri Bottas down the straight, because he needs a massive slipstream to have any hopes of even getting the same top speed as him. So the Red Bull is very slow. They're showing off the Honda livery, but their engine is not performing as well. They're going on a very high downforce setup, because Perez as well is a lot slower going down the straight compared to the Mercedes powered cars. Let's look at the lap times. Well, looking at the lap times, the quickest driver out on track is Sergio Perez, in fact, in 4th place now. He is trying to overtake Charles Leclerc. We'll see if he can make a successful overtake on him, because with the top speed that the Ferrari has and the lack of top speed the Red Bull has, it's going to be very difficult to get alongside and try and make a move. But maybe Perez can pressure Leclerc into a mistake, and yeah. All right, everyone that is subscribed and hit the like button, very much do appreciate it. We're on nearly 4,000 viewers and we're 6 laps into the race. That is so, well, that's very, very high indeed. So if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. And yeah, all right, back to the race. Carlos Sainz makes the move on Kimi Raikkonen, the Ferrari-powered Alfa Romeo, conceding the position to the works Ferrari. And Sainz is up into 13th place now, gained 6 positions from the race start, and his fellow penalty taker, Daniel Ricciardo, is still in 16th place. So Ricciardo is going to have to get a shuffle on with still stuck behind George Russell. And as we talk, Sainz makes another move on the other Alfa Romeo. So both Alfa Romeos in the same lap from Carlos Sainz. Makes a move down into turn 9 for Kimi Raikkonen, makes a move into turn number 12 for Antonio Giovinazzi. So Sainz making lots of moves, and that top speed in the Ferrari is very much helping him out. And then we have Esteban Ocon is next up on Sainz's list to overtake. Hamilton finally gets past Yuki Tsunoda going into turn number 7. Turn number 5, sorry. He has been stuck behind Yuki Tsunoda for the past 7 laps now, and has finally just made the move stick. But Hamilton's making very slow progress through the field, and if he had a tough time overtaking Yuki Tsunoda, overtaking Stroll, Norris and Gasly is going to be even harder. So maybe Hamilton will have a very tough... Well, Hamilton's definitely going to have a very tough time winning this race from 8th place now. And yeah, All right, then. Sainz is already gaining on Esteban Ocon, so Sainz is a man on a mission trying to get back up into those points positions. We have a lot of team radio coming through. We have Ocon, Stroll, and Latifi team radio. Let me play all of this. All right, here we go.
Okay, Swan confirms status, please. Cars in front, lapping low 36s.
36, but still making damage to the front.
So everyone else is lapping the 1 minute 36s, and Esteban Ocon says he can do that, but it'll damage the front tyres too much, so he's choosing not to. We have Stroll's team radio. Let's listen to this.
Tires are overheating a lot.
Over, rears are hot, Manage the exit of 5 and 7. Prioritise exit 5 and 7.
So 5 and 7 are sort of hairpin corners where you'll get the most wheel spin because you're coming from low speed going into high speed, and well, they've just been told to manage these tyre temperatures as much as possible, probably short shifting as well. Short shifting, if you guys don't know, is when you shift up the gear early, so you minimize the amount of torque you have and then minimize the amount of wheel spin. All right, then. Hamilton has just overtaken Stroll. Stroll was struggling with tyre temperature and has let Hamilton get by. So all of the other drivers may be struggling with tyres, but Hamilton's been managing them maybe. And that's why it took him a long time to overtake Tsunoda. Pierre Gasly has been given a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision at turn 1 for Fernando Alonso. And here we go. Then we have team radio from Nicholas Latifi.
Turn 8, manage more, one step more. 10
I know, but if I manage, I can't pass them.
Yeah, but we remember the long-term objective.
So the track conditions, there is a drier line forming, but apparently it's still drizzling. I can't exactly tell from the TV cameras because you can't see much rain, even if it is raining through a camera. But Pierre Gasly given a 5-second time penalty for crashing into Fernando Alonso at the start of the race. And I think the fact that he actually got a penalty might have just been because of Fernando Alonso's strong words in the press conference on Thursday. But who knows what the FIA are up to with their penalty giving system, because it is totally random and unfair. But anyway, back to the race now. 2.4 seconds is the gap between Verstappen and Bottas, and the same gap is between Verstappen and Leclerc, and the same gap is between Leclerc and Perez. So all of the drivers being split by 2.5 seconds, which is very much the sweet spot in these sort of conditions, because then you get a lot more visibility because of the rain. Next up on Hamilton's overtaking list is Lando Norris. The gap between the two drivers, 0.5 of a second now. Hamilton will be pushing him all the way, but with the Mercedes engine in the back of the McLaren and Lando being a very capable driver, I don't think it'll be very easy for Hamilton to find a way past him. All right then. Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. We're currently on 4,000 viewers, but only 400 likes. So, yeah, if you could hit a few more subscriptions and likes, that would be very cool. All right, let's get some more team radios. Unfortunately, there's no more team radios, but Fernando Alonso has also been given a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. So Mick Schumacher and Fernando Alonso came together at turn number 5 on the opening lap, or the second lap, I think, and Alonso has been given another penalty for that. And as I'm talking about that, Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race and overtakes Lando Norris. So what I was saying about Hamilton struggling to overtake Norris, that's not what's going to happen, because Norris has just lost the position to Lewis Hamilton, and Hamilton is already 2 seconds ahead of him. So it might have been a mistake from Lando Norris. Well, I will let you know what happened there, but Hamilton makes another move up into 6th place now, gained 5 positions in 10 laps time. So 2 positions, 1 position every 2 laps, and just quick overtaking from Lewis Hamilton. In fact, we have team radio from him as well. Let's listen to what he has to say.
So Norris better in turn 8 than the others, but slower on the straights.
Well, that information from his team definitely would have helped him out. He said that Norris is better in turn 8, but is slower on the straights. Oh, that actually rhymes. But So Hamilton probably what he would have done is gone slower into turn 8, got a quick exit, and then the slipstream would have helped him down the straight and overtake Lando Norris, and that's exactly what he's done. So next up is Pierre Gasly. He is 4.2 seconds away. So Hamilton will be setting fastest laps of the race, and that is exactly what he's doing. Purple first and second sector, and quickest lap overall. He is now... he's just marginally quicker than his teammate, in fact, who is leading the race. And the gap at the front, in fact, Leclerc is gaining on Max Verstappen, and Verstappen is falling away from Valtteri Bottas. So this is not what we expected. We expected Verstappen to just overtake Bottas into turn 1 and then run away with the race. But that has not happened. In fact, Leclerc is getting closer to overtake Verstappen. So the Red Bull's pace at this circuit is very much off. And yeah, Bottas has extended his lead, and it looks like both Mercedes drivers have found the sweet spot with the tyres and know which bits of the track they can push at and which bits of the track they can't. And yeah, they're both putting in very much consistent lap times throughout the entirety of this race, and we'll find out what happens then. Okay. And then we have, let's see, Bottas says there are no dry patches yet as a light drizzle is still falling. And yeah, so the intermediate tyres will probably last, we'll probably have intermediate conditions for the next 20 or so laps because there's still a light drizzle and there's no wet dry patches to be seen of. So going on slicks now would just be, would be crazy, in fact. And yeah. Daniel Ricciardo still stuck in 16th, stuck behind George Russell, not being able to make a move. And he is quicker in the first sector compared to George Russell, but then slower in the middle sector. And then in the final sector, they're basically identical. So Ricciardo having a very tough time trying to overtake George Russell and is still stuck in 15th. Sainz has made the overtake on Esteban Ocon and moves himself up into 11th place, 1 position away from the points, and he'll be looking to maybe get up into 7th or 8th as a recovery drive, and maybe he can go even higher with maybe a potential safety car or something. Both Mercedes drivers now setting fastest sectors. Bottas sets the fastest first sector, Hamilton sets the fastest third sector, and both of them are setting fastest laps. So Mercedes definitely have a lot of pace, and yeah. Alright then. We have team radio from Nikita Mazepin. Let's listen to this. Here we go. Oops. Oh, it's just disappeared. Lovely. Well, when it comes back, I'll play it. Alright then. Oh, here it is. Okay.
I don't see anything in my mirrors. So if Latifi is super close, let me know. Yeah, Latifi just behind you.
Yep, so Nikita Mazepin having difficulty looking out the mirror. And fair enough, there's so much spray that the drivers can't see in front of them. So looking in the mirror is going to be pretty ineffective, especially considering how small these mirrors are and how badly placed they are as well. Sainz makes the move on Seb Vettel, the driver that he replaced at Ferrari, and he is up into the points now. So he is, a very successful recovery drive, down from 19th place all the way up into 10th place now. And now he'll be facing drivers with similar pace to him. So he'll be coming up on Yuki Tsunoda in a matter of laps, and we'll see if he can continue that momentum throughout the entirety of this race. And yeah. George Russell has just reported that the track is getting drier, but is still way too far away for slicks, as this indefinite drizzle of rain is just falling for a very long time now. Spray is pretty much gone now, so there's little to no spray. But Hamilton says the track is still pretty wet. So the track's getting drier, but it is still wet. And yeah, you reckon the Haas will get lapped by lap 20? That's how dreadful the car is. Well, they are currently 60 seconds behind the leaders, behind Valtteri Bottas, and it's 90 seconds a lap, and it's been 15 laps. So, yeah, I think it'll be 25 laps till they get lapped, but yeah, they'll be lapped very, very soon, and maybe lapped twice as well. Yeah. All right then, Lewis Hamilton makes the move on Pierre Gasly, fastest third sector, caught up to him, and basically just made the move into turn 3, turn number 13, as if he wasn't even there. Just send it down the inside, and Gasly let him by because there was no point finding Hamilton, because the more he fought with Hamilton, the closer Norris would get, and then overall Gasly would lose some points. And yeah. So Sainz, when he overtakes Seb Vettel, he sort of bumped into Vettel and just pushed him off the racetrack a bit. So we have team radio from Seb Vettel, and Seb Vettel won't be happy, so let's listen to this. Oh, it's just disappeared again. All right. Well, when it does come back, I will let you know what it was. And next up on Hamilton's radar is Sergio Perez, 7 seconds ahead of him. And obviously the Red Bull driver, so he will probably be given instructions by Red Bull, hold up Lewis Hamilton as much as possible. And maybe that's what will happen, you know? Perez doesn't have the best pace compared to Lewis Hamilton, nearly a full second slower, in fact, on the previous lap time. But defending isn't... You can be a very slow compared to the other driver and still be able to defend against them. We have team radio from Seb Vettel, the one that he was angry in, so let's listen to this.
Okay, drive straight into me then.
Yep, so that was that. He just drove straight into him. And look at the replay as well. It was Sainz basically just barged his way past, like, see you later, Seb, and then just pushed him out of the way. We have team radio from Lewis Hamilton. Let's play this. Here we go.
Excellent work, Lewis.
Yep, excellent work. That's what his team has just come over the radio to him to say. And his move on Pierre Gasly, yeah, just gained down the straight, just continued gaining for the entire lap. Pierre Gasly was recharging his battery, in fact, going down the straight, so he very much wasn't putting up a fight against Lewis Hamilton, and just a very easy overtake for him. So now Hamilton, once again, another fastest lap of the race, and he is just slower than Charles Leclerc's top speed by 1 km an hour, 310 km an hour for Lewis Hamilton. So top speeds are getting higher as these guys are getting better and better exits out of turn number 9. And it'll only be a matter of time before DRS also gets activated. But talking about getting higher top speed, we have Max Verstappen in the second sector getting, purple second sector. VTEC very much kicking in for Max Verstappen. And yeah. All right then. This is it then. So Verstappen sets another... has set a purple middle sector, and we'll see if he can carry on that pace and maybe catch up to Valtteri Bottas. 3 seconds is the gap between the two drivers. So they are, Verstappen is not in any position to sort of overtake Valtteri Bottas, because Bottas is sort of put in a good gap, and then he can make a few mistakes as well and still get away with it. So it's going to be very difficult for Verstappen to catch up to Valtteri Bottas, show the tyres. Everyone's on intermediates, and they're all fresh sets of intermediates, so it's just going to say intermediates 16 or 15 depending on which lap they're on. And yeah, all right then. And looking at the rest of the track, looking at the rest of the grid, we have a team radio from Stroll. Let's listen to him.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit drier, but very far from slick. There's no dry line. Super greasy.
Copy that.
Yep, so, there's nothing else to say. Stroll has just given a perfect weather update. They cannot go on slicks yet because there's no dry line, and you can only drive on the dry line in the slicks. Looking at the TV camera, on some certain corners, there is looking to be some small bits of dry line, but there is still a lot of spray, and it will be way too risky to go out on slicks right now, and a lot slower as well. And Verstappen has definitely just kicked in some VTEC, because he now sets the fastest lap overall, going a lot quicker than Valtteri Bottas. and Lewis Hamilton. So we'll see if Verstappen can continue this pace onwards towards the end of his first stint on these intermediate tyres. Probably be trying to go 30 laps or so on the first stint, and then 30 laps on the next stint as well. There are 58 laps in the entire race, and there are 41 laps remaining. And if Valtteri Bottas can get a win, I think this will be his final win for Mercedes, because the rest of the races, it'll just be Lewis versus Verstappen till the end, because they're having a very interesting championship battle, which I do want to see go right down to the wire in Abu Dhabi. And yeah. Alright then. Also, guys, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Very much does help out the channel. And yeah, we could hit maybe 600 or 650 likes, which would be very, very cool. Alright, back to the race then. Verstappen is closing up the gap to Valtteri Bottas, but there is no... he's still quite a ways away, nowhere near making an overtake. But Carlos Sainz, the man who's been making this race pretty interesting, overtakes Yuki Tsunoda. So first driver in his in his category of races of drivers who's on similar pace. He does overtake Yuki Tsunoda, so his momentum is carrying through, and he will continue making his way up the field. Next up is Lance Stroll and Lando Norris. And yeah, I need to get a drink, otherwise my throat's going to hurt a lot. Alright. Mick has the skill of Verstappen, but he's limited by the car, yeah. Mick is... well, he's rather close to getting lapped, down in 20th place, unfortunately. Rather close to getting lapped by Valtteri Bottas. It'll only be probably 5-10 more laps before they get lapped. 5-10 more laps before they get lapped. There are 58 laps in total. And Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin are having a little battle down in last place. 20th position for Mick Schumacher, and he is now... Well, he's 5 tenths behind Mick, 5 tenths behind Mazepin, sorry. And just going down the straight, Gunther Steiner will be very angry if these two drivers crash into each other. They've already had their fair share of crashes, and a lot of penalties have been given out, and a lot of repair costs as well. So he does not want any more crashes to happen between these two drivers. And for now, they're keeping it clean. 1 second gap between the two drivers, and they are not battling whatsoever. Further up the field, Pierre Gasly sets the fastest first sector, and a green middle sector. We'll see if he can carry that pace through towards the end of the lap. But that might be indicating the track is getting a bit drier, and Pierre Gasly is adapting to the conditions very well, because we are seeing green first and middle sectors all around, well, for most of the grid, in the top 10 and above. So track conditions getting drier. We're seeing Carlos Sainz, and we're seeing drivers go offline now to cool down their intermediate tyres, because their tyres are getting too hot, and to cool them down into the correct zone, they're going into the wet patches where there are puddles to try and cool them down. So we're getting closer to the switchover period between inters and slicks. By the looks of it from the TV cameras, the rain has sort of reduced slightly, but there is still no proper dry line just of yet. We have team radio from Max Verstappen. Let's listen to this. Here we go.
It's really good pace, Max. Actually, let's just hold that gap to Bottas there. Introduce a bit more at 3 and 8 again. It's good to know we've got the pace if we need it, and the tyres compared to him ahead.
So, that's a very interesting voice note there. Max Verstappen and Red Bull are playing the management game. They are deciding to manage the conditions, manage the tyres and the pace. Max Verstappen did set fastest lap of the race, so when he came over the radio and said it's good to know we've got the pace when they try, that means, well, if Verstappen wants to, he can go and push and catch up to Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri Bottas, in fact, has just made a mistake going into turn 1. A little bit eager on the throttle, and had a little bit of a twitch on the exit of the curb as well. So Valtteri Bottas, the mistakes are starting to show up, and his tyres are starting to wear out. Max Verstappen has been managing them for the entire race, and managing the gap as well. And then the final few laps will get very, very interesting indeed when these guys decide to go for maximum push and try and make some overtakes. So now Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race, and he has caught up to Sergio Perez, and Hamilton's been setting fastest lap of the race non-stop, in fact, after lap number 7. So his tyres will definitely be worn out a lot more compared to everyone else, and he'll just have to watch out for that. And maybe he'll pit early, depending on if the track is going to stay wet throughout the entire race. And yeah, all right then. So the drivers seem to be pushing, and a lot of personal best lap times are coming in. The fuel loads are also decreasing, of course, because as the race goes on, they use the fuel, and then there's less weight in the car. And the tyre wear is also, that's going to help out the tyre wear, because the less fuel you have in the car, the less load you're going to have on the tyres, and that's going to help out with the tyre wear issues. And the Norris has told his team that his tyres have basically just turned into slicks. So last year we were talking about Sergio Perez has turned his intermediate tyres into slick tyres basically by driving them so much. And that is exactly what Lando Norris has done this year. So by the looks of it, the best strategy to go, rather than pitting for new intermediates, will be wearing out those intermediate tyres until they practically turn into slicks. Looking at turn 9, turn number 8, sorry. Drivers still not going flat out. Esteban Ocon is still lifting a bit, going through turn 8, so it's still not dry conditions just as yet. And yeah. Alright, prediction who wins? Well, there is a vote, and I think 48% of you have voted for Max Verstappen winning the race. Well, Max Verstappen's currently in second place. He could definitely do it. Yeah, the 10k sub overlay is broken. I'm not going to try and fix it now, though, because I'm pretty sure my laptop will just explode because I can hear the fans. You can't, because I've got a very cool mic that sort of, well, it doesn't listen to my fans. It listens to my voice instead, which is very cool, but I'm deciding not to fix it because my laptop might explode. Daniel Ricciardo, first driver into the pits. He has been stuck behind George Russell for a very long time. So McLaren have decided to bite the bullet and go out onto the go onto fresh set of intermediate tyres. And yeah, we'll find out what happens with Daniel Ricciardo, if his pace increases significantly or not. AWS predicts that Lewis Hamilton will be catching up to Sergio Perez in 4 laps time. We have a yellow flag. Yuki Tsunoda, by the looks of it, has had a spin or something because he's lost 2 positions. Well, I'll just let you know, I think it's gone back to green flag racing. Tsunoda loses another position, and by the looks of it, has just got back on track now, so he's all right, but had a bit of a spin going into turn number 10, I think. And yeah, not looking good for Yuki Tsunoda. Alright, we have team radio from Daniel Ricciardo. Let's play this. Here we go.
How much faster could you be on a new Inter, do you think?
Yep. Yeah, faster, quite a bit.
Alright, so Daniel Ricciardo came over the radio saying, be quite a bit faster on the new Inters. So that's what they've done. They've pitted in for the new Inters. Now let's look at his lap times. He'll have to wait for the tyres to warm up, of course, but it's looking good for him. Just marginally slower than, marginally slower than Fernando Alonso. So, we'll see what Daniel Ricciardo can pull off in these new Inters. And if he does get some good pace, then he will continue. He's set his personal best third sector. So his tyres look to be up to temperature, and I'll keep you updated on what his pace is in the next few laps. He had a quick pit stop from McLaren, 2.8 seconds and 23 seconds in the pit lane. So 20 seconds in the pits, and then add on however long your pit stop was. We have Charles Leclerc saying fastest lap of the race, Sergio Perez saying quickest middle sector. So both 3rd and 4th position drivers have decided to pick up the pace. Verstappen, the gap between Leclerc and Verstappen is closing up. And maybe Leclerc is trying to pressure Verstappen into pitting, or maybe the drivers are like, okay, so I think we should push now, wear out these intermediate tyres completely, and then go out into, and then pit for fresh sets. So Yuki Tsunoda went straight on at turn number 1, I think, so it wasn't even turn number 9. I think I was looking at the wrong driver. Oh no, it was turn number... Oh, it was turn number 9, not turn number 1. He just went straight on and then had to go around the bollard, and yeah, went straight on, and then I had a bit of a spin as well. Oh no, overcorrected the spin, and then yeah, went into a spin basically. Leclerc is setting the fastest lap of the race though, so that looks like Hamilton's tyres have run out. He's 3 seconds behind Sergio Perez and not being able to get any closer whatsoever. And yeah, so Perez holding off Hamilton. Hamilton's tyres starting to wear out. Leclerc still having a lot of tyre life, enough to set fastest lap of the race with the Ferrari. Very quick indeed. And the track temperature is 18 degrees, very, very cold usually for Formula 1. Yeah, 18 degrees Celsius, yeah. And then yeah, so Leclerc has a lot of tyre life left because that Ferrari should not be setting fastest lap of the race unless he has a lot of tyres. And he was charging up the battery, so maybe it's just one fastest lap attempt to see if he still has pace or not. And yeah, here we go then. All right, I'm going to play Esteban Ocon team radio, so here we go.
Who's behind? Because I'm blind, I can't see the mirrors.
Yep, so another driver complaining about not being able to see behind in the mirrors. The mirrors in a Formula 1 car are absolutely horrible. Like, you would not want them on your road car because you can't see behind, because you have to look at such a weird angle as well. So Esteban Ocon struggling to see behind him, and his radio engineer will be telling him Giovinazzi is 7 seconds behind, so there's nothing to worry about. Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so, and be sure to subscribe as well. We just hit 10k, but we can always aim for higher. So maybe 20k or 15k is the next target. I'll decide on that later. But Sergio Perez is kicked up, has turned on VTEC and is setting another quickest middle sector. And quickest middle sector usually means that they're pushing, because the middle sector's got turn number 8, and turn number 8 doesn't care much about your tyre, about your engine. It cares much more about how willing the driver is to push through that corner. So Sergio Perez pushing through turn number 8 and setting fastest middle sector. We have team radio from Carlos Sainz. He's successfully moved from 19th all the way up into 9th place, but now he's stuck not being able to get past Lance Stroll. Maybe his tyres are worn out too much because of dirty air. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Feels like it's starting to rain a bit.
Copy. Would also pit for Inters, just to have a think.
Let's wait a bit.
Understood.
So Sainz has said, let's wait a bit, not pin for Inters. So that's probably why he's not overtaking Stroll, because he's decided to conserve his tyres a bit. And looking at Daniel Ricciardo's pace, by going on to a fresh set of Inters, really isn't anything quick, to be honest. And so there wasn't that much point for pitting for fresh Inters, because Daniel Ricciardo is still not setting personal best lap times, and he's nowhere near the rest of the field either. So pitting for fresh Inters isn't going to help out much. In fact, it might just be quicker to stay on worn out intermediate tyres. And yeah. Also, Leclerc still maintaining his fastest top speed of the race. So good job from him to continue. Is to get very good exits out of turn number 9, in fact. And he still maintains that. Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin still having their little battle down in last and second to last place, and we'll see who comes out on top, but they've both been lapped. It's been 26 laps since the beginning of this race, and yeah, so Daniel Ricciardo's times are starting to improve, but he's only matching the midfield runners, so there's no point really to pitting, because he's not gained that much time from pitting, so it was rather pointless, really. Yeah, Bottas, the porridge master level 200, is blocking Max Verstappen, and yeah, Esteban Ocon having an absolutely horrid time trying to overtake Seb Vettel. Tried to send one down the inside and absolutely misjudged his braking, and nearly hit Vettel. but stopped it in time, and he's just having a very tough time. Yeah, sorry about that. I coughed. I coughed. I don't know how to say it properly. Anyway, yeah, so Esteban Ocon not being able to overtake Seb Vettel, and by the looks of it, he's getting a lot of wheel spin. Looking at his gear shift lights, they've just been flickering up and down in 6th gear, so a lot of wheel spin for him, even in 6th gear. Yeah, I'm alright. It's just I was a bit ill last week, so that's why I've got a bit of a cough. But yeah, totally fine. And back up at the front of the grid, Hamilton has closed the gap up to Perez another second, so the gap is 2.2 now. And Valtteri Bottas has just come over the team radio and said these tyres are basically slicks. And yeah, that's exactly what these tyres have turned into. We'll see at the end of the race what tyres they are on. But looking at the radar, there's just tiny little drops of there's like little like bubbles of blue around the track. There's nothing just yet on the circuit, but yeah, there's that. There are 31 laps remaining of this race, guys, and yeah, 31 laps remaining. Okay, Sainz has told Ferrari that he wants a one-stop race, but does that mean he's going to go on to another set of intermediate tyres, or does that mean he's going to go on to another set of slicks? The steady drizzle is drying up quicker than usual, so there's less drizzle, and you can see a sort of racing line that's starting to form. But the conditions aren't really improving, and they aren't really getting worse either. I might actually try and get an image up of what the track actually looks like with all of the rain and stuff, and see all of the inters that have just turned into slicks practically. And yeah, we'll have a look at that. If I can find a proper image. Alright. But getting... Oh, I can actually show you track conditions, what they look like. Alright, here we go. Is this going to come over? Alright. Can you... Yeah, so track conditions pretty like wet, basically. There's a dry line sort of forming there that you might be able to see if I turn this off. That might... Oh no, wrong one. Okay, if you turn that off, you can sort of see it. There's sort of a dry line forming, but really not much. And yeah, so, and just looking at the Ferrari here, there's still water all over the track, so going on slicks would be way too dangerous. Yeah, another image there. Just there is water on track right now, and yeah. Okay, Hamilton is worried that his tyre temperatures are starting to drop. And it's just sort of a game of who can stay out on these inters the longest, really. And yeah. Vettel says that Vettel thinks that the slicks won't be used today. Hamilton's blocked by Mazepin when he tries to lap him. So Hamilton's trying to lap Mazepin, and Mazepin blocked him. So yeah, stewards might get a bit angry at Mazepin, but we'll find out. Vettel has come over the radio that though saying they probably won't use slicks for the rest of this race. So yeah, we'll find out what they decide to do then. Yeah. All right. Ooh, I've got actually quite a nice image. Okay, I think you guys can see this. The slicks, yeah, these tires here, they are meant to have grooves in them, but they don't anymore because, yeah, the tires have basically turned into slick tires, and then we have Valtteri Bottas just having a little bit of a moment, and which you can't see because it's been blocked by my overlay. But anyway, the gap is now down to, well, the gap is up, in fact, between Bottas and Verstappen, 3.8 seconds. So it looks like Verstappen made a bit of a mistake, and he has fell back a bit. Leclerc has also caught up. Leclerc still maintains fastest lap of the race, in fact, which is rather odd because he's in a Ferrari, shouldn't really have fastest lap of the race, but here we are. And yeah. All right, let's play the team radio from Lando Norris.
Yeah, I feel like you're just graying a new Inter now. I feel like it'd be very difficult to get it to the slick phase.
So Lando Norris thinks that if you go onto the new Inters, the tires will just be too cold or too warm, in fact, to wear out properly and to get into the phase where he is now. So he's saying, let's just stay out on these tires. Okay. When will Max pit? No idea. They're currently halfway through the race now, and only one driver is pitted. So yeah, these Inter tires look to be lasting very, very long. We have team radio from Valtteri Bottas, the leader of this race. Let's listen to him.
Still raining from turn 6 till turn 12.
Okay, so now we've got rain for only half of the track. So turn 6 to turn 12, basically the third sort of the start of the middle sector and the whole middle sector and the end and the start of the third sector it's raining, and for the rest of the lap it isn't raining. So we are getting closer and closer to the switchover period between the wets and the Inters and the slicks, and yeah, we'll just find out when it's time and who makes the correct decision, because whoever does will have a very big advantage over everyone else. And yeah, Max is on the intermediate tyres, everyone's on the intermediate tyres, and yeah, Hamilton has his eyes on Checo. 1.3 seconds is the gap. Fernando Alonso is the next driver to pit. He has been stuck down outside the points for most of the race, so I think the Alpine team have decided to take a bit of a gamble. So what happened down... all right, we'll play Max Verstappen's team radio first. Here we go.
Suffering along with the rear now too.
So Max Verstappen says, Max Verstappen is struggling with the wear of the tires. So, yeah, not the best conditions. These tires are, 30 laps on any sort of tires, they're going to be worn out a lot. So the tyre wear is not helping out Max Verstappen. Fernando Alonso, next driver to pit, he comes out on the Inters. We'll find out if he can have any better pace. And yeah, all right then. Yeah. So here we go. They've decided to go onto the fresh Inters. We'll find out if that's the correct strategy. If it's not, but the switchover period is coming very, very soon indeed. And yeah. Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Maybe we could hit 1,000 likes, or maybe even 1,500. That'd be very, very cool indeed. And be sure to subscribe if you're new here. I stream every single F1 race, qualifying and the race. So yeah, be sure to subscribe. Bottas is not Bottas. In fact, I mean, we were saying that Bottas is struggling, but Bottas is pulling away from Verstappen. Verstappen is, by the looks of it, Bottas is putting in quicker lap times just compared to Verstappen. Bottas, quickest man on track, only driver in the 1:33s. Everyone else is in 1:34s and higher. So Bottas is just flying. Even though Bottas is on used intermediates, he's still quicker than Fernando Alonso on the fresh set of Inters. And Fernando Alonso served his 5-second time penalty as well. So the 5-second time penalty he had before, he no longer has, because he served it in the pit lane. We have team radio from Seb Vettel, and then we'll get on to the battle between Sergio Perez and Hamilton, because they're both the drivers very, very close indeed. Here we go.
Just a question, if there was a safety car, would you consider a soft tyre?
Probably, yes.
Okay, so if there was a safety car, Vettel would consider going on the soft tyres. And yeah, okay, so here we go then. The battle between Hamilton and Perez, 1.1 seconds is the gap going into turn number 8, sorry. This is basically where the downforce is the most critical. So Hamilton will be losing lots of time going down here, and he needs to stay within a sort of slipstream range to try and do it. And Scott Wright in the chat has just pointed out Bottas is trying to gain space to pit. Very much, yeah, I think that's exactly what he's trying to do, in fact, because 26 laps into the race, 26 laps remaining of the race, and he will probably want to pit very, very soon because he doesn't want to risk those inter tyres like having a puncture or something. So maybe that's a smart strategy from Mercedes parts. We have team radio from Bottas, in fact. Let's listen to what he has to say.
The restart, because now
see if you can get more temperature, so start avoiding water.
All right, so that's Bottas's tires have started to wear out. His rear's getting more snappy. So they're trying to get some more temperature, and well, Perez is basically holding up Hamilton, and this basically what his job is, being the wingman at Red Bull to Max Verstappen. His job for the rest of the remaining 25 laps of this race is to hold up Lewis Hamilton. 9/10 is the gap between one full second is the gap between the two drivers. Hamilton hasn't been able to gain that much, and we have some team radio from Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi, obviously the most experienced driver on the grid. He'll know what conditions and when it's time to go onto the Inter. So let's listen to what he has to say.
I cannot get past this car.
Oh, he's just complaining that he can't get past Yuki Tsunoda, because I don't think it's the AlphaTauri. There's a lot more top speed than the Alfa Romeo. So he's just struggling because there's still no DRS that has been activated just as yet. Daniel Ricciardo makes an overtake on Nicholas Latifi. So good job from Danny Rick. But he is very close to being lapped by Valtteri Bottas, in fact. It'll only be a matter of 3-4 more laps before Daniel Ricciardo is lapped. So, yeah. All right, then. So, the focus is still on Hamilton, and he makes the move on Sergio Perez. So, I sort of missed that, but I'll go through what happened. So, going into turn number 9, Hamilton just got a very perfect exit, and then was in the slipstream throughout the whole of the back straight. Going into turn number 12, he pulled off a very amazing move. Well, a very good dive bomb down the inside of Sergio Perez, and he's just got past him. But then going through, Sergio Perez got a switchback, and then Perez is now back ahead. 2/10 is the gap between the two drivers, and it's just battle on now. Perez is still maintaining the lead going into turn number 7, and we'll see what he can do and if he can hold off Lewis Hamilton for any longer. While those two drivers are battling, we have Norris in the pits. Norris is pit, and alright, so Norris finally deciding to just pit. We'll see if his pace is any good. Alonso and Ricciardo's pace have been very lackluster after pitting, so we'll see what happens to Lando Norris. But Sergio Perez and Hamilton's battle still going on now, and this is the last time. So they're going up to turn number 10 now, where Hamilton got a very good exit last lap, and we'll see if Hamilton can replicate what he did in the previous lap, but execute it a bit better. So going down the straight, 7/10 is the gap between the two drivers. Hamilton once again gaining down the straight with the slipstream, and 4/10 now, but still not close enough this time to go for a dive into turn number 12, and yeah. Hamilton misses out on that overtake this lap, but he is very close to Sergio Perez. 6/10 is the gap going down the main straight, and it will be getting closer and closer between the two drivers. Hamilton tried to go around the outside, and yeah, Perez just wasn't having any of it. He was just on the inside and held his line. And then it was a straight drag race between Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez going down the start-finish straight, which Hamilton, in fact, won. But then Perez had the inside line and took the lead going into turn 1 again. So a very good job from Sergio Perez, holding off Lewis Hamilton, doing exactly what Red Bull need him to do and what Max Verstappen need him to do. Max Verstappen, though, is not pulling his weight, in fact. 5.7 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas. Now, Verstappen's pace has started to drop up. He's in the 135s. Valtteri Bottas in the 133s. So, very big gap in terms of pace between Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen. And it's usually the other way around. The Bottas is slower than Verstappen. But this weekend, Verstappen's slower than Bottas. So we'll see if Verstappen gets some more pace after pitting or not. We have team radio from him, in fact, so let's listen to this. But just talking before this, we have Russell and Tsunoda both coming into the pits. And, yeah.
Oh, I'm really struggling in the last sector.
Understood, Max.
Okay, so Max Verstappen is really struggling in the last sector, and then he goes into the pits. So Max Verstappen, the first driver out in front to go into the pits, And looking at Lando Norris's pace, I think it would be a good strategy to go onto the inters now, because Norris a personal best green third sector and a personal best first sector. We'll see what he can do in the second sector as well. His second sector time is... It's not a personal best, okay, but we'll see what he can do. Maybe he hasn't got enough tyre temperature yet, but if Lando Norris can set a few green sectors, I'm sure Max Verstappen can as well. And also, guys, it is a mandatory rule. The track conditions are the exact same as they were before. Well, it's sort of drying out, but it's still nowhere near slick conditions, because there's still a constant drizzle that has just been falling. But Vettel and Sainz both into the pits. So is Nikita Mazepin. So everyone else is coming into the pits now. And Verstappen is still in third place and maintains his lead. Well, maintains his podium even after pitting. So Leclerc and Bottas still yet to pit. And there is a mandatory pit stop, guys. We usually don't get this in Formula 1, where you could go the entire race on one set of tyres. But there is a mandatory pit stop that you have to complete. And so Bottas and Leclerc will still have to pit. And talking of pitting, Bottas does pit. So we'll see if Verstappen gains time overall on Valtteri Bottas. But I think Verstappen will have the advantage, in fact, because Verstappen will have the heated up tyres, whereas Valtteri Bottas will not, of course. We have yellow flag conditions. Looks like someone might have had a bit of an incident somewhere with the fresh set of tyres they've just put on, which will have very low temperature. Might have had a bit of a spin. But everyone is all right now. Back to green flag running. Bottas comes out now 4.5 seconds ahead of Verstappen. So Verstappen has got an advantage, gained 2 seconds nearly in that pit stop. And he is gaining even more time with the extra tyre heat that he's got. Max is coming through and is quicker than Valtteri Bottas in this current moment, and he is gaining every single corner. All right. I'm just going to double check everyone has pitted for Inters. I'm pretty sure they have, because going on slicks will just be absolutely insane at this moment in time. Yeah, everyone's gone on. Oh, Vettel's on mediums. Okay. Vettel's gone on mediums, and Vettel, I think, yeah. Vettel went on to mediums and then spun and then brought out the yellow flag. So Vettel's going to come back in and go on to Inters. So, yeah. And so Vettel very much had a very big... slick tyres are a very big no-no, especially the mediums. Vettel will be coming in this lap, trying not to hit anything, because his car is next to out of control on those slick tyres. And yeah, Vettel pit, and he pit onto mediums. Very crazy strategy by Aston Martin. They were like, well, if we're going to be in 10th place anyway, we might as well just try something different and see if we can go higher up. But it wasn't the strategy to go. And he came out and spun immediately. Well, spun in the first sector. Because driving on wet tyres is practically impossible. Driving wet conditions in dry tyres is basically impossible. So the drivers yet to pit are Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. Oh no, Valtteri Bottas has put pit. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Mick Schumacher. Everyone else has already pitted, and they are already they've already completed their one mandatory pit stop of this race. And yeah. So this is it then. 20 laps remaining. Some more drivers to pit. There is no team radio just as yet. The last team radio was the Max Verstappen team radio, which he complained about his tyre wear and then proceeded to pit immediately after. So, yeah, no more team radio just yet. And yeah. Okay then. Looking down the field now, Carlos Sainz is trying to make a move on Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon hasn't pit yet, and will probably concede the position very easily to Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz has been charging throughout the field for the entire race now. 5/10 is the gap between the two drivers, and yeah, Vettel having a very tough time on those on those mediums, he's counter steering basically every single corner because there is no grip whatsoever. And yeah, he slides off. Charles Leclerc having a pretty big lock up, in fact, on those inters, so he might lose out his third position to Lewis Hamilton. We'll find out. But Hamilton has decided not to pit, and Sergio Perez has. So Hamilton doing the aggressive strategy, and the gap between Verstappen and Hamilton is 3.8 seconds, but Verstappen is pit, and Lewis Hamilton hasn't. So we have we have team radio from Seb Vettel. Let's listen to this. Here we go.
No, it's not working.
Yeah, that's a very simple way of saying the mediums weren't the right thing. Someone has just asked, Ria has just asked, can you recap what happened? So race start, everyone maintained their lead except Russell, except Ocon, no, not Ocon, Alonso, Latifi and Schumacher. All of these guys lost places at the race start. Everyone else was all right. And then it's just been drizzling throughout the entire race. And everyone's been on intermediate tyres. And then just coming into... This is now the phase where everyone has to pit because their tyres have worn out too much. So we have Leclerc and Verstappen... Well, Leclerc, Hamilton, Ocon, Giovinazzi and Mick Schumacher, the only drivers yet not to pit. Everyone else has pitted already. And yeah, Leclerc leads Bottas, Verstappen and Hamilton. Gasly's in there as well. And Gasly's also served his 5-second time penalty. So no one else has a 5-second time penalty remaining. Gasly and Alonso both served it in the pit lane. And yeah. Also, guys, we have 6,000 people watching. Can we hit 1,000 likes? We're 50 away. And also, can you guys subscribe as well? Very much would help out. And it is not you can't do a no-stop strategy in Formula 1. There's a mandatory pit stop rule. Otherwise, I think quite a lot of the drivers would have just decided to stick it out on those inters till the end of the race. No slicks just yet. Hamilton hasn't pitted either. And yeah. Ooh. Leclerc is asking the obvious question here. Can he go to the end on this set of tyres? Yes is the answer, as the rule that you... Ooh, in fact, you can do a no-stop strategy. Okay, I didn't actually know about this rule. I thought the rule was you had to do a mandatory pit stop. But apparently the rule is that you can, as long as you are use 2 different tyre compounds, you can go to the end of the race on. That's totally fine. But that rule's only in the dry. So in the wet... you can apparently go to the end of the race on just 1 set of tyres. So Leclerc holds the lead of this race 5 seconds out in front of Bottas, and maybe can hold off till the end of the race. We'll find out. We have team radio from Charles Leclerc. Let's listen to this.
Can I stay with this set until the end of the race?
Yes, you can stay until the end with this set.
So, just confirmation from the Ferrari garage that you can stay on the same set of tyres right till the end of the race. And yeah, interesting tactics from Ferrari for sure. Let's see who is pitting. Lewis Hamilton's still not pitting. Maybe that's his strategy. He's just going to go to the end of the race and manage his tyres, because we all know Lewis Hamilton very good at managing tyres. And with 17 laps remaining, he could do the entire race on just 1 set of tyres. And those inters very much would have turned into slicks. But... yeah. All right then. So, looking at the lap times, Verstappen and Hamilton both putting very similar lap times in, even though Hamilton has 41 lap old intermediate tyres and Verstappen has 5 lap old intermediate tyres. So a very big difference in entire life, entire wear, but their lap times are the same. So, basically indicating that your tyres have no effect on your pace. It's sort of just the effect of how much water they can displace, really. And all right, we have team radio from Lewis Hamilton. Let's listen to this. Here we go.
Box.
Why?
New inset is the way to go. Under threat from
I don't think it is, man.
Lewis Hamilton doesn't think pitting on the new intermediate tyres is the way to go. and the Mercedes garage have listened to him, so he's staying out and not going into the pits. I need to ban this guy, one sec. There we go. Thomas Lloyd has just spamming. All right. Anyway, back to the race. Ocon is still going on his tires, and there are 41 laps old as well. And he's setting half a second slower than the drivers around him. So, will Leclerc's tires last? Well, if Leclerc manages them till the end of the race, then yes. And he is managing them because he has lost, I think, around a full second to Valtteri Bottas in the past 3 laps. So, past 3 laps, he's lost 3 seconds. So, past 3 laps, he's lost 1 second. So, he is definitely conserving those tyres and trying to get all the way to the end. And, yeah. Also, guys, who will be your driver of the day for today's race? Do let me know. And, yeah. All right, then. So we have Alonso is actually trying to overtake George Russell. Daniel Ricciardo is, in fact, he's done a very good job. He pitted very, very early indeed to go onto those new fresh set of intermediates, and now he is now he's made his way up into 11th place. He was stuck in 16th or 17th, I think, for the entirety of this race before he pitted, and now he is up into 11th. So good recovery from Daniel Ricciardo. And yeah, all right then. So your drivers of the day are Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, or Sergio Perez, or Daniel Ricciardo. Well, Daniel Ricciardo's done a good job getting from, I think it was 20th to 11th, but I think Sainz has done a better job, 19th to 9th. That's one more position, but he's made a lot more overtakes as well, and he's looking to overtake Ocon as well. So I would say my driver of the day is Sainz. But this is fair enough. Lewis Hamilton has also been driving on these tyres. He's driving on these tyres, 44 lap old tyres. The same number as his driver number, in fact. Lewis Hamilton, 44 lap old tyres. But Max Verstappen's having issue with his steering wheel. So I think Max Verstappen, I think we had this last year. Oh no, at the start of this year, Sergio Perez's steering wheel just completely switched off. So Max Verstappen is having some issues with his steering wheel. We'll find out what's actually going on in a second, because he'll probably come up with some team radio, unless his steering wheel's so broken that he can't even switch it off. Yeah. There are 58 laps in this race, and there are 14 laps remaining. Yeah, all right. So here we go then. Hamilton says that it isn't far off drying, which makes things even more interesting. But then as soon as Lewis said that, the Aston Martin team had just tweeted, it's not dry. So, yeah, who knows? But if it does get into dry conditions, then Charles Leclerc will pit onto soft tyres and potentially win the race, which will be very, very interesting to see. But now Valtteri Bottas is 1.1 seconds away from him, and with Leclerc having 44 lap old tyres and doing quite a few lockups on them as well, he doesn't stand much of a chance against the Finnish Mercedes driver. All right, we have team radio from Max Verstappen, but I'll just talk about Bottas' overtake. So going down the straight, 5 tenths is a gap between himself and Leclerc, and yeah, just not much. He's not been able to get past just as yet. Turn 5 and turn 7, the next few overtaking opportunities, and there's little to no spray as well now, so that's going to help out his visibility. But the dirty area is still there, of course, and yeah. Driver of the day is Hartley, right? Yeah, because Brendan Hartley is totally driving. I think it's Ericsson. In fact, Marcus Ericsson's my driver of the day. Yeah, the battle between Sainz and Ocon, still 2 tenths between the two drivers, and between Bottas and Leclerc, 4 tenths. So two drivers, both Ferrari cars, one Ferrari car trying to overtake and the other Ferrari car trying to stop being overtaken, in fact. Lewis is potentially waiting for a slicks opportunity, maybe. Maybe that's actually the smart strategy to go. Sainz makes the move on Esteban Ocon going into turn 1, just down the inside and then round the outside for turn number 2. Verstappen's mood is not very good. He's saying that Hamilton is trying to hang on to his tyres just in case it goes dry. So I'll play Max Verstappen's team radio, in fact, and let's just listen to this. Oops, it's just gone. Here we are.
I don't know what's wrong with my steering wheel, but it's going more and more left and up.
Yeah, so what's happened with Max Verstappen's steering? Bottas has just made the overtake on Leclerc. In fact, he's just copied what Sainz did. He just went down the inside and then round the outside for turn number 2. So the Ferrari did an overtake down the inside and then round the outside, and then the other Ferrari got overtaken in the exact same manner. Lando Norris setting the quickest middle sector. That's basically come out of nowhere. It looks like he got some clean air and then just pushed through turn number 8 and did it. I don't think that we will have slick conditions. With only 12 laps remaining, the rain is gonna have to completely stop. And also Poland ball. I've seen your message like 5 times now. There's literally no point. So I'd just like you to stop, otherwise I would ban you. But Leclerc has very much fallen behind Bottas already. Bottas overtook him about 5 corners ago, and the gap between the two drivers 2.5 seconds. So Leclerc very much told off, and Leclerc has been told to box so he can push in the final 12 laps of this race. We'll see if Leclerc actually does box. And now Sainz has put in a fastest middle sector as well. So it looks like when the drivers are looking to push these tyres all the way to the end, the middle sector is where they decide to go, because turn number 8 takes a lot of tyre life, but when you are pushing, it gives you a lot of time reward as well. So Sainz quickest first and middle sector. Very good job from Carlos Sainz. Charles Leclerc finally does come into the pit, so his team did tell him to pit and he did listen. So Leclerc is into the pits now. He will probably come out in 4th or 5th place by the looks of it. We have team radio from Valtteri Bottas, and let's listen to this. Here we go.
Come on, Valtteri.
Yep, so that's it. Valtteri is in the lead of this race, 6 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. So barring any crazy weather mistakes, crazy mistakes or crazy weather, Valtteri Bottas will be winning this race. But there are 11 laps to go, and it is changeable conditions, so just hold on. Leclerc's out in 4th place with Sergio Perez very much on his tail. 1.3 seconds is the gap between the two drivers. Perez is going to want to make that overtake as much as possible, because the Red Bull team definitely need every single point they can get to try and win, to try and beat Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship, because they're now 30 points behind, I think. So every point they can get will help out. Sainz sets the fastest lap of the race. So, I definitely do think Sainz deserves driver of the day, but we will find out in the end. Well, we'll find out what the rest of the Formula 1 community thinks. We have team radio from Daniel Ricciardo. Let's listen to this.
It's even lighter in the pit lane now. How's the conditions on track?
A bit more dry, but still not there.
Yep, so very little rain whatsoever, but it's not time to pit, and with only 10 laps remaining, it will be a very, very risky strategy indeed to try and go onto slick tyres, because usually how it works is when you go from slicks to wet tyres when it's starting to rain, the time delta between the slicks and the wets will be very, very big, and that way you can make up all the time you lose in the pit lane. But when you're going from wet conditions to dry conditions, the time delta between the wets and the slicks is very, very small. So the amount of time you're going to gain going onto the slicks is so small that you're not going to recover from the fact that you have to go pit. So I don't think anyone will pit for slick tyres. And then we have Carlos Sainz still maintaining his very quick pace. Another fastest first sector from him. Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from, but that he got a brand new engine, of course, this weekend, and he's just deciding to push very hard. Yeah, another fastest first sector. So very good job from Carlos Sainz, and he is closing up on Lando Norris. Well, he's closing up on Lando Norris, but he will not be able to make an overtake because there's 13-second gap between the two drivers. Daniel Ricciardo might be able to get into the points though. 1.5 seconds between himself and Stroll, and yeah. When do you think Hamilton will come out when he pits? I don't think Hamilton will pit. I think they're just going to stay out till the end of the race. He is lapping nearly 0.6 slower than Max Verstappen, but the problem is, if he goes into the pits, he's going to come out probably in 5th place, I think. Yeah, 5th place. So he's going to lose a lot of points if he does go into the pits. So it's better out just to risk it and stay all the way to the end than to come into the pits. All right then. So we have team radio from Lewis Hamilton. Let's play this.
But these tyres last to the end. Straighten up one.
Lewis, yeah, we're just debating if these will last into the dry.
Yep, so the Mercedes garage just deciding whether they're going to last the remaining 9 laps of this race, because he is getting very close to puncher territory, is Lewis Hamilton. So, yeah, but we have Carlos Sainz now, 8th place. Another fastest lap of the race from him. He's going 2 seconds quicker than Valtteri Bottas, who's leading the race, and nearly 3 seconds quicker than Max Verstappen. Absolutely electric pace from Carlos Sainz out of nowhere as well. He might even catch up to Lando Norris if he carries on doing this for every single lap till the end of this race. And yeah, Gasly, Sergio Perez is putting a lot of pressure on Charles Leclerc, in fact. 0.7 is the gap between the two drivers, and they're currently going down them. Hamilton pits, so Hamilton is going to lose. They decide Hamilton should pit, so Hamilton's going to be in 5th place, and he will lose that and will not gain any points. Well, he'll lose a lot of points to Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen will get 18 points, and I think Lewis Hamilton will get maybe... I don't know exactly how many points it is. I think he'll get 10 points, so it'll be an 8-point advantage for Max Verstappen this race. So Hamilton has just decided to pit, and yeah, I don't know why he's done that. Obviously the Mercedes garage think that his tyres won't last the next 8 laps, but yeah, and it is obviously the long game, because if his tyres exploded, then he would lose 18 points to Max Verstappen in the championship, which is a lot worse than losing just 8. So they've decided to play it safe and just lose 8 points rather than having the chance of losing 8. Bottas is not pitting, so Bottas will most likely win this race. 7.6 seconds ahead of Verstappen is Bottas. So Bottas will have he has a very big advantage over Max Verstappen, and hopefully he can carry that all the way till the end of the race. And then we have Sergio Perez, in fact, being practically alongside Charles Leclerc, but he is still, they're both battling, in fact, going into the final corner. We'll find out who comes out on top, but yeah, thank you, Multi Ninja, do appreciate the support, and yeah, thanks for being a mod, I guess, and like doing all the correct stuff by being a mod. So we're gonna have Perez has just overtaken Leclerc into the first corner. They had a little drag race going down the main straight again. So Perez now up into 3rd place, so it'll be a 2-3 for Red Bull if it stays this way. But Hamilton still has 7 laps remaining, so Hamilton will want to overtake Leclerc and Perez in the next 7 laps. So just stick around till the end of the race to find out if Hamilton can overtake Perez or if he can't. Yeah. All right then. Also, guys, I don't think I've mentioned it, but I do post random memes and stuff on Instagram and Twitter, and they are in the description. and so is a Discord server. So if you do use Instagram, Discord, or Twitter, then be sure to go follow me, F1_gamer_5, and the links are in the description. But back to the race. Stroll now 5/10 behind Esteban Ocon, and he is getting closer and closer. But Ocon has a 51 lap old hard intermediate tyres, 51 laps. And yeah, like, how is Esteban Ocon staying out for that long? We'll see if his tyres do last to the end of the race, because maybe Mercedes played the incorrect strategy by pitting. But Hamilton sets the fastest first sector. Sainz sets the fastest middle sector. But Hamilton will quickly take that away by, I think. And Hamilton will be trying to overtake Leclerc as quickly as he can going into turn 1. 5/10 now is the gap between the two drivers. Hamilton will be struggling with the dirty air, but he has a massive tyre advantage over Leclerc. In fact, it's not actually that big. It's only 3 laps tyre advantage that Hamilton will have. But Hamilton, of course, on the medium, or in the Mercedes, will be so much quicker than everyone else. And Leclerc has been struggling for grip for quite a while. And yeah. So this is it then. Sainz still maintains the fastest middle sector because Hamilton is stuck behind Leclerc, not being able to overtake him. We all know Leclerc is very good at defending, and yeah. Alright then, Hamilton will get the podium. Well, we'll see. He has 6 laps remaining. He has to overtake Leclerc, who is 1 second ahead of him, and then he has to overtake Perez, who is 5 seconds ahead of Leclerc. So he has to gain a lot of time and also make a few overtakes in the remaining 6 laps. And yeah, alright then. 5 laps remaining of this race. Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. We've got 7.8k viewers and only 1,000 likes. So if you could get a few more likes and subscriptions, that would be absolutely lovely. And yeah, thank you for all of the support. Raikkonen now, in fact, trying to overtake his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi. It's not a battle for any points, but I guess the two Alphas can have a little battle within themselves, because why not? Mick Schumacher overtook Nikita Mazepin quite a while ago, and is now 17 seconds ahead of him. So Nikita Mazepin's the only driver to be lapped twice so far, and we have Mick Schumacher, who's been lapped once. So Nikita Mazepin, the only driver to be lapped twice, and really doesn't deserve a seat in Formula 1, but here we are. Back to the battle at the front. Hamilton has fallen away from Leclerc, in fact. 1.2 seconds is the gap between Hamilton and Leclerc. Maybe Hamilton's charging up his battery to go for a final push in the final 5 laps, but who knows what will happen. And yeah. Alright then. Here we go. Esteban Ocon still holding on to his 53 lap old intermediate tyres. We'll see if he can continue. And yeah, we'll see if... Oh, also, Bottas is coming up on traffic. Let's see if any of the other drivers are coming up on traffic. Hamilton and Leclerc quite clear of traffic. And Perez is coming up on Latifi, Alonso, Russell and Tsunoda. So... it'll be a straight fight between Leclerc and Hamilton is falling away. 2.5 seconds is the gap between himself and Leclerc. So, yeah. I don't think Hamilton is falling away from Leclerc for some reason. Don't know why he's doing that. Might be struggling with low tyre temperature, who knows. And, yeah, we'll see if he can catch up. There's only 4 laps remaining. Thank you for the donation, Abdullah. Very much do appreciate it. Thanks for all of the support, guys, as well. We have nearly 8,000 live viewers. We have team radio from Lewis Hamilton. Let's listen to this. He's probably going to be complaining about the fact that he's down in 5th place, but let's listen.
What position am I in, man?
Currently P5.
You should have come in, man. Got massive graining, man. I told you.
Yep, so Lewis Hamilton is just saying, I told you so. Yeah, so he's got massive graining, so his tyres are too cold, and yeah, they're wearing out, and he can't get any grip. So that's why he's 3.2 seconds behind Leclerc, and yeah, they've lost out a lot of time, has Lewis Hamilton. He would have only lost 8 points to... He would have lost 3 points to Max Verstappen, but now he loses 8 instead. So not the best for Lewis Hamilton. And yeah, Ocon is attempting the no-stop strategy, and he's holding on to 10th place. Ricciardo is struggling with his tyres. But yeah, we'll see if Esteban Ocon's tyres can hold up for another 3 more laps. And yeah. Yeah, Hamilton does say man at the end of every sentence, but oh well. Yeah, he's very annoyed. He's just come over the radio and just said, "Don't talk to me, man," to Bono. So, yeah, Multi Ninja, your point is correct. He just does say man to after at the end of every sentence. But here we are. 5th place for Lewis Hamilton, and he's not gaining on Leclerc, and in fact Gasly's gaining on him. He might even lose the position to Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly had amazing pace yesterday in the intermediate conditions, and we are on inters as of now, and Gasly has the heated up inters, which have better tyre temperature and grip compared to Hamilton, and we'll see if Gasly can actually make an overtake. Valtteri Bottas fastest first and second sector, so it looks like he's going for the fastest lap attempt, significantly quicker than Sainz's attempt. So the Mercedes still has a lot of pace still in the tank, and three laps remaining now. And could he overtake Lewis Hamilton? Would he do that? He obviously doesn't know. Well, he knows about the championship battle, but yeah, there are 3 laps remaining till the end of the race. And Valtteri Bottas sets an amazing fastest lap time of a 1 minute 31.0. Very quick indeed, considering these intermediate conditions. And yeah, I mean, he's just dominated this race start to finish, really. Has took the lead into turn 1 and never looked back. So very good job from Valtteri Bottas. And we have now Gasly 8 tenths behind Lewis Hamilton, and with a chance to actually overtake him. We'll see if that can happen. Also, guys, we are so close to hitting 8,000 live viewers. We're like 50 people away. So if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so and subscribe as well. But this is it now. 2 laps remaining of this race, and yeah, I need to get a drink because my throat's starting to hurt again. Alright, so I think Valtteri Bottas could definitely get driver of the day. Valtteri Bottas or Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz has been putting in very quick pace as well. Caught up to Lando Norris, 6 seconds in the previous 4 laps that he's caught up to Lando Norris. But Valtteri Bottas, start to finish, just amazing drive. And he's very much redemption for him from last year's race where he had 5 spins. Absolutely terrible race that he had last year, and now he comes back to win this race. So I guess whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Wow, amazing. I totally messed saying that up. But Bottas does not have a penalty. No one else has a penalty, and yeah, no one else in the race. Only Alonso and Gasly both had penalties, but they both served them in their pit stop. So yeah, no penalties for those guys. Daniel Ricciardo loses out 2 positions to both Alfa Romeos. Looks like he might have made a mistake somewhere, and yeah, dropped out from 11th place down into 13th. And yeah. Oh, also, there's been no DNFs, guys. That's a very good point. Who pointed it out? Mystic Man. There have been 12 races, I think, in the history of Formula 1 where we haven't had a DNF. And there is 1 lap remaining, and all 20 drivers still driving. So there is a very good chance that we can have, this would be the 13th race, I think, in Formula 1 history where we would not have a single retirement. Yeah, very crazy. Yeah, there's been no DRS all race. I don't know about the stats for no DRS, but I know there's been only 12 races where there hasn't been a single retirement, and this is it, final lap of the race. Valtteri Bottas, absolutely amazing drive start to finish, just took the lead into turn 1, managed the gap superbly, managed his tyres, and it is very much redemption day for Valtteri Bottas, takes the lead and wins the 2021 Turkish Grand Prix at Istanbul Park today. Amazing drive from him. Next across the line is Max Verstappen, and to top it all off, Valtteri Bottas gets fastest lap of the race on the last lap. Verstappen in second place. Very good drive from him. Unfortunately didn't have the pace all weekend round the Red Bulls, and he has successfully taken second place and extended his championship lead over Sergio Perez, over Lewis Hamilton. Sergio Perez comes home in third place. I think it's his third podium for Red Bull. So yeah, that's exactly what Red Bull needed of him, in fact, to just hold up Lewis Hamilton and outscore him as well. Then is Charles Leclerc. Very good drive from him all weekend round, in fact. He was 4th place in qualifying, and now he is 4th place at the end of the race. And then we have Lewis Hamilton, who was in 3rd place till the Mercedes team told him to pit. And then he did pit, and now he's in 15th. So very unfortunate for Lewis Hamilton. But that has been it, guys. The 2021 Turkish Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. Maybe we could hit 1.5k likes. And my Instagram and Twitter, F1_gamer_5, is in the description. Twitter and Instagram, both the same thing. Same name, I guess. And the Discord link is in the description as well. We don't have any team radio just of yet. That's come through, but Bottas wins. And he does get the fastest lap bonus point as well. So 26 points for Valtteri Bottas. And let's update you on the championship points standings. So let's have a look. Championship points. All right. So now Max Verstappen has a 6-point advantage over Lewis Hamilton in the championship. 6 points, 6-point lead. He gained 8 points this race. Verstappen got 18 and Lewis Hamilton got 10. And the gap before was 2 in the favour of Hamilton. Now it's 6 in the favour of Verstappen. And yeah, very good job from the Red Bull team and Max Verstappen. And yeah. Alright then. Thank you everyone for all of the support. I'm also streaming for the US Grand Prix. So yeah, all of you American fans who have to wake up at 6 a.m. You probably won't have to wake up that early for the race. And then all of you Australians, I think it will be a normal time as well. So yeah. Valtteri Bottas, I think this will be his final win for Mercedes. And yeah, a very good drive from him overall. And he has just come back and redeemed himself and showed that he can recover from horrible races. Like, yeah, we have team radio from him as well. So let's listen to this. Here we go.
Well done. Dominant performance. Great stuff.
Yes! Whew. Thank you. That's fun.
Hi, Valtteri, it's James. Great drive. Really, really well done.
Thank you. Cheers. Good job.
Yeah, great job, Valtteri. Brilliant, brilliant effort.
Yeah, so everyone just going around the team, just congratulating Valtteri on his win. And yeah, that has been it, guys. A very, very good race today. And currently 2:37 a.m. in New Zealand. That's pretty bad, but I guess you're a pretty dedicated Formula 1 fan if you are watching this right now. I do appreciate all of you guys who are staying up as well to watch it. It does mean a lot. And yeah, Vettel was having a good race before he went onto those mediums and then had to pit again and lost 40 seconds in the process. And yeah, that has been it then. Everyone who has subscribed and liked, very much do appreciate all of your support. And if you guys have any other questions, I will answer them in the chat, and then I'll probably go in maybe 5-6 minutes or so. Yeah. No worries, guys. Archipelago 23, JCS Spotify, Kent Mains, Kronos 3000. Do appreciate all of the support. MCTG as well. Oh yeah, hitting 10k as well. Very big thing. We're at 10.7 already. We hit 10k yesterday, 10.7 today. Wow. Yeah. Well, Verstappen does have a 6-point lead, and there are only now 5 races left to go in the championship. What's your biggest likes per stream? we're on. I think the highest was 2,000 likes, and that was last stream in what was last week's race 2 weeks ago. Oh, Russia. I think it was Russia. Yeah. It was Russia. It was thingy. It was 2,000 likes. In the Russian Grand Prix. But yeah, great stream. You do sound a bit sick. Yeah. I guess my throat will get better in 2 weeks' time. So, yeah. But that's been it. Valtteri Bottas wins the race. Back on the top step of the podium. The Constructors' Championship. I think the lead gets reduced even more. I'm not exactly sure. Let me just calculate that right. It will take me a second. I need to do some mental math. So I think, it's just Mercedes Mercedes are 33 points ahead of Red Bull, and they were 30 points ahead of Red Bull before. So they've gained 3 points overall, have Mercedes, compared to 33 points ahead of Red Bull. So yeah. Thank you, Rickus. Do appreciate it. Couldn't join the quali stream because no, that's fine. Who is driver of the day? I'm not actually sure who driver of the day is. It hasn't come through, so not particularly sure. Will Ferrari have a chance at the Constructors? I think they'll have a chance maybe at third place, because they've obviously outscored McLaren by quite a lot this weekend. But McLaren have outscored them at Monza. They took a 1-2 at Monza, so I'm not sure exactly. Ivan not doing a face reveal at 20k. I don't know. I think if I was to do a face reveal, it would be 100k or maybe even higher. I'm not particularly sure. We have a quote from Valtteri Bottas. It's been a while, but it feels good from my side. One of the best races I've had. Everything was under control. Everything was smooth for once for me. When there's only one dry line, difficult one, and All right then. You have to watch the US Grand Prix at 3 a.m. Yeah. Well, I guess you'll just you'll get to experience what all of the Australian and New Zealand fans have to experience as well. So I guess you only have to do it for one race, which isn't that bad. Max Verstappen has just said, it was not easy today. The track was greasy and we had to manage the tyres for the whole race. Valtteri had a bit more pace and we were happy to finish second. It's easy to get it wrong and drop back. So, yeah. All right then. There's that then. So, thank you guys for watching, and have a nice morning, afternoon, day, or night, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And yeah, thank you for